name's Renee from Crossroads Calligraphy, and it's kind of the end of the day in the calligraphy studio before a long weekend, and I just wanted to come on real quick and make a video about the difference between broad edge calligraphy nibs and pointed pen calligraphy nibs. We see these terms used pretty frequently, and it can be kind of something that you gloss over if you don't really know what that means. So today I'll take a close look at each of the different kinds of nibs and how they operate and release ink as you write with them. If you'd like a little bit more information about nibs, then you can check out our other video, What is a Calligraphy Nib? All right, on to the ink. Okay, features of a pointed calligraphy nib. Whoa. So they are very flexible. One way you can check the flexibility of your nib is to hold it at the back and gently place it on one of your nails. I'm using my thumbnail, and just put some pressure, and you can see how wide the tines open actually, so you can get this much variation in your strokes. So for these thin hairlines, the tines remain closed. And then as we write, as we pull the nib toward us, the tines open so that we can create those thicker strokes. So with these, the important thing to remember is the thickness of the stroke depends on the pressure that you apply to the nib. With pointed pen calligraphy, you measure the height of your letters using a ruler. Since your hand is controlling the thickness of the strokes, then you can go to different sizes using the pointed pen calligraphy nib. And their pointed scripts are generally cursive, like this is copperplate script, or a Spencerian script, which is a more decorative hand. So that's generally what a pointed pen is used for. Now the broad nib, for comparison, is somewhat flexible. The tines do open if you add pressure to them, but the thickness of the strokes depends on the width of the nib itself instead of the pressure. So the thicknesses of your strokes are going to be fairly uniform. The height of your letters depends on the width of the nib that you're using. This is italic script, and so we count 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. I don't think I use this nib for this project, but that's how we measure the height of these letters. It's a proportion to the tool that you're using. So if I were using a wide paintbrush, then my letters would be very large. Broad nibs are used more for heavier calligraphy, like italic script, uncial, the whole family of Gothic scripts. So in contrast to the pointed pen calligraphy nibs, a broad edge nib will make its thick and thin strokes based on the way that the calligraphy pen is moving. So you always hold the writing edge of a broad edge calligraphy nib at the same angle, no matter which way that you're moving the pen. And those different directional movements are what get the nib to produce those fine lines and those more broad lines. So that concludes our video on the difference between a pointed and broad edge calligraphy nibs. And we made this video so that when you go to learn a calligraphy script, you are a little more knowledgeable about which pen to use and which scripts kind of go with which pen. So if you have any questions or comments about calligraphy nibs in general, go ahead and leave a comment or send me an email. It's Renee at crossroadscalligraphy.com. In the description, you'll also find a link to our website. We have several other articles about getting started with calligraphy, practicing your basic strokes, and kind of things you want to have around for when you're practicing calligraphy. And lastly, we do also have a bi-monthly newsletter where videos like this one will show up. We also have class announcements and studio news that we send out as well. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.